Hi, today we'll create a simple demo using Expressjs and JSON Web Tokens. We'll see how to implement JSON Web Tokens. For this, we'll require three NPM modules. One is JSON Web Token, NPM module that will help us to create and verify JSON Web Tokens. Body parser. Body parser will help us in parsing the data that comes from the user in form of GET or POST requests. And obviously Expressjs, which is the Node web framework. We'll create a project in this directory. We'll start by creating a blank project. And we'll install all the three NPM modules that are required. So we'll need Express, body parser, JSON web token. While these are being installed, we'll start by creating our app.js. So what we'll basically do is create two routes. First route will be the simple root route where we'll create a token. Imagine this as the login route of any application wherein a user passes the email and password on the server. The email and password are verified, and if they are valid, the user data is then converted to a token and then sent to the user. And another route where we will verify the token. So let's say after logging in, user wants to access any secure page or a secure route. The user would be sending back the token to the server, wherein the token is verified on the server, and if it is valid, the data is sent back to the user, or the user is allowed to view the page or the secure route. But over here in this case, we'll just send back the decoded user data which we get from the token. Okay, first we'll create all the objects of all the modules. So we have Express, body parser, and JSON web token. Okay, now we'll create the app object to start the Express app. The app can listen to any free port. Typically the port numbers used are something like 8080, 8000, 3000, or 888. Yeah, so any of them is fine. This is for development purposes. Let's create the route. To keep things simple, we are just keeping it as get request. In a real world scenario, usually for login and stuff, the post is used, or even when the token is sent, it's either sent as post, or even sometimes the token is sent as a cookie, saved as a cookie in the browser. So with every request, the token is sent to the server. Here we'll keep things simple. We'll keep it as get requests. Express gives us the request response objects in the callback function. Okay, so imagine we have the user data with us. User would typically have ID, email name. Okay, the name, and this is the data that we want to tokenize. So always good to have a look at the documentation of any library or framework that we're using. Over here, the documentation for us is on the npm page itself. So okay, so we have this sign method wherein you pass in the data in the first argument and a secret key in the second argument. Secret key is used obviously in encryption. Secret key, as the name suggests, should be kept a secret, not to be shared with anyone, should be kept securely on your server. As is another example shows, you can keep it in a file on your server. Obviously, the file permissions have to be such that nobody else except the owner or the root user of the application can read that. Shouldn't be able to be downloaded or anything like that. So take care of the permissions if you're doing that. But over here, for simplicity, we will create a constant over here. It can be any string, uh, but obviously not something like this, not something which has common words that can be found in a dictionary or that can be easily guessed. Yeah, so don't do this. uh, Now we'll create the token. We'll pass in the user data and the secret key. So this simply creates our token. We send back the response to the user. We send the JSON. Considering this is a JSON REST API that we are creating, we will be sending the response in JSON format. Uh, okay, now the second part of the app where we are verifying the token. So if you look at the documentation and go down a little further, you'll see that we have this verify method wherein you pass in the token in the first argument and the secret key in the second argument. If the both are okay, you get the decoded data that is inside the token. So uh, let's try that. Now, how do we get the token that is passed via the parameter? We First of all, we will have to tell app, the Express app, to use body parser. So over here, what we're basically telling Express app to do is to use body parser as a middleware and parse the incoming request. It can be JSON or it can be URL encoded. In our case, in the get request, we are passing the token or in the URL. Any data passed via the URL is obviously URL encoded. So we're telling Express app to use body parser to parse incoming data. It can be URL encoded, it can be JSON. Typically, if you do this much, all your incoming get and post requests, the data inside there, it's all passed nicely for you and given to you nicely in the request object and the data is given to you inside the params object. So once we have told Express app to use the body parser, we get the token like this. And yeah, obviously you can read more about that in the npm. Each and every configuration property is explained nicely. But this is what we require for now. Okay, and if the JSON is verified, I mean the token is verified, we send the data back to the user. Okay, so this is a very simple demo. Let's try this out. Uh, to try it, we'll just simply say node app.js, and our app is running, no error in the code. Uh, for testing, we will use a uh, REST API client called Postman, a very popular tool created by an Indian company. There are others as well. If you want to try, one of them is Insomnia REST client, and this is a good tool that you can use. But yeah, Postman is one of the most popular ones. Okay, so we'll just send a GET request at our URL, app URL, which is 127.0.0.1. The port number is 3000. As you can see, we get the token. Now we'll try and verify this token. For that, we have the route as slash verify slash we send the token, and we get the data back. IAT is issued at JSON Web Tokens. They don't live forever. They are not valid forever. They have expiry time. Issued at is also passed along with the decoded data, so you can verify. uh, yeah, generated JWTs will include an IAT issued at, uh, but we can also pass in other properties along with the sign method to uh, the timestamp on where when the JWT is created, or how long it will be valid, etc., etc. So all that can be done. We don't need for this simple demo. Now let's say in case the JSON web token is invalid. I removed a part of it that makes it invalid. I try to send that request. I get a HTML page giving the stack data of what went wrong. This is like the default Express error. Um, this shouldn't be the case in a real world REST API. Uh, if we say it's a JSON REST API, it should always return JSON. So the way to handle it is using try catch, because in this case, if the verification fails, it throws an error. So in case of an error, always good to keep the response JSON structure same in case of error or success. Uh, yeah, so since the code is changed, we'll have to restart the app. And now we can test again. As you remember, the JSON token is invalid at the moment. And now as you can see, we got the error as well, but in the form of a proper JSON response. Uh, Also the try catch thing, and many other small code examples are given in the official documentation. I hope you enjoyed this simple demo. Thank you.